Are we ready?
Red light's on.
Ready as it's gonna
Regan
be.
looks nervous.
I don't think we have an option.
Regan looks nervous. Oh gosh, it's been a minute since I've done one. Well then, welcome back to the Feeling Your Passion podcast. We have taken a hiatus that I am sick of taking. We've been moving studios, we've been traveling to heydays, this and that, and we finally are in our own space. So I feel like I said it last time, but we're going to become more consistent.
Cool.
It's a challenge. It's a one-man band half the time. But today is kickoff to winter is today here at 509. And we have some of our longtime Canadian athletes down. You guys are both a decade about, huh?
Yeah, I think so.
Nadine Overwater and Regan Sieg. Welcome, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Good to have you.
Always
in
a
America.
pleasure.
Yeah, welcome to Land of the Free, home of the brave.
I love it here.
Nadine, first and foremost, since we were just talking off camera, you've been on briefly in controlled chaos, like heydays and everything, but a little backstory. I mean, like I said, you've been with 509 for, it's got to be over a decade now.
I feel like it was around 2013, 14-ish, yeah.
But you're fortunate enough, both of you, you live right in Revelstoke, BC, which listeners love and know. And then you're right down the road too. And
yeah, just on the other side of the mountains.
You guys are both very spoiled.
We are. We know
kind
that.
of a product of our environment. There's a lot of options right where we live. And I think both of us are pretty diverse people and like doing a lot of things in the mountains, and definitely including the snow sports is a big thing.
Yeah. Nadine, a little backstory on did you get into sledding because of being in Revelstoke, or was it just kind of a product of your environment, or where'd the introduction come from?
Yeah, I definitely got into like mountain riding from living in Revelstoke. I grew up on the prairies just to the east of Revelstoke. So I grew up in Alberta, but we always had snowmobiles, but it was ditch banging. And then got into snowboarding. The old story, you start leaving your snowboard behind. But yeah, definitely moving there. I chose to move there. I chose to bring my child up there, and that was what I wanted. But yeah, with that, you're thrown into the big mountains, and you have to learn how to ride pretty fast. And there wasn't a lot of people riding at that time when we moved there. It was like 2007, 2008. And, so the people you were riding with were like the old boys. And
those are the sled next days.
Yeah. They would drag you to the ends of the earth, and it was a lot of work. So definitely that's where my mountain riding kind of fostered and built, and I got addicted to it. Yeah.
And then Regan, like you said, right down the road. So you guys are fortunate enough to link up a lot and ride together, but I know there's other credit to be given, but I feel like you pioneered snow biking, and you have, I get lost for words talking about watching you ride a snow bike, because you make it look like it weighs 100 pounds and you make it look like it has 200 horsepower, and you ride that thing on rails. And it's poetry in motion when you're on a snow bike.
Well, I appreciate that. It just definitely was, it was a big decision to get off snowmobiles and kind of go in the snow bike world when it wasn't really proven and stuff. But, I had the vision in my mind. The products were kind of coming in the right direction at the right time for me, and I was really looking for something better to do. And, my whole background just with moto and freestyle and snowmobiling and being in the mountains, I just had this recipe in my mind that I was the person that was going to be able to kind of elevate the sport if I put my focus into it, and I wanted to do something new. And, the experience of going through freestyle too kind of showed me a new sport growing, and someone has to kind of pioneer it and push it forward. And I kind of wanted to be that person. So I got really lucky that kind of everything started aligning. And even when I didn't know where it was going to go, I just kind of pushed forward, and things got better really quick. And it's fun, definitely, and challenging to do something new, but it's super rewarding at the end of it. That's for sure. Yeah.
You don't talk about it enough. You got some FMX roots, like Metzger days and all that stuff, and Deegan and like SoCal.
Those Vans Triple Crowns and X Games, and living in California with Metzger and Chris Rourke, and being at all the contests. And I started it all when I was about 19 is when I started leaving Canada to chase that scene, and with a couple of the other Canadian friends, and doors opened. I just started doing well and got right in the scene and moved down there, and Metzger hired me kind of to be down there with him. And it was pretty crazy how it unfolded being a Canadian kid and the doors that opened. And so I was just pretty willing to kind of take the opportunities and see where it was going to go.
I'm going on a side tangent here really quick, but were you there during the time frame of the guys trying to learn the flip? Like when Metzger did the back-to-back flip at X, the dirt-to-dirt one? What was that, 02, 03?
Yeah, I mean, I was down there in the early 2000s.
Did you get to see these guys trying to figure these flips out? Or
well, I had injuries going through some of those years, so I broke my feet pretty bad a few times.
Yeah.
So I was down there for a few years, and I was home for a bit injured, and then back, and then eventually I started not going to California as much, and started more demo shows in Canada and chasing it around from there, and then still going lots of places, but basing out of BC more once the contests or more shows were to do and stuff like that. So, but I did grow up through that whole era of seeing all that stuff. You know, Travis Pastrana when he was super young, still kind of racing, but the Terra Firma movies, came up into Summerland area, and we ended up linking up with them. And this is right before we all started freestyle too, so it was kind of the first thing I ever saw, like filming wise. You know, Pastrana came to Canada along with Chris Rourke and Mike Sinkmars. And it was just neat to get the foot in the door to see, you know, Travis was a big name at the time and, you know, so young and just pushing the limits of the sport, riding and freestyle and racing and everything. So getting in with those guys and having a few days of kind of riding and seeing what they're all about, and also learning that maybe my skill set wasn't as far down as you would think. And once you start riding with those guys, I started to fit in a little bit, and it really gave me confidence to push forward when the contest did start and I started traveling to do things and beating a couple people maybe that I idolized or whatever, and just having good showings at stuff. So it just made me feel like, you know, I wasn't just a kid in Canada that liked to ride my bike. I had some real skills, and you know, it took me a lot of places.
That's I geek out on that stuff because that was the years I was like so tuned in. Everything, Terra Firma, Slednicks, the Brap film series, Krusty Demons. Yeah. So that was like my formative years of like, I'm hooked. And then right when I was, let's see, you guys were both, I think, in the film game when I was still a fan. So it's just cool to see that you guys are still pushing it and involved and have made this industry part of your, it seems like your lifers at this point. You kind of get to a point where even
there will be retirement,
right? But you're always going to be involved in some capacity. Like you can't let this industry go.
Things might change, but I think the love to be in the industry at a high level is always going to be there. And even if you have to adjust it a little bit, like I did, kind of stop jumping freestyle when COVID happened. It kind of killed all the events. I was already in my 40s. I mean, honestly, you can't really jump dirt bikes forever. So, and I have other things going on. So eventually, I kind of let go of the traveling around for the freestyle shows and the high risk of that. But you know, with the freestyle or with the snow biking and stuff and working with Mountaintop and all that stuff and pushing it all forward, that's kind of my bigger focus now. And I get to ride a bit more in the summer for my own reasons. And it's just changed a little bit what I really do all year. But I mean, it's all very much focused on being in the industry in different capacities and working with 509 and just all the networking in different ways. And it just kind of changes every couple of years.
It's fun. It's ever changing. Regan, you said something earlier that made me think about you, Nadine. Kind of when he was realizing, okay, I'm like right there with these people. You have thrown down some of the biggest sends that have made some guys put their tail between their legs.
100%.
Yeah. Your Women of Winter thing 2 years ago, like those, there's that double drop in there and that huge sniper kind of funneled out little like down that slide path, kind of that drop. So sick.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
Yeah. What's, I mean, you're, like I said, you're a product of your environment. I know you've been riding with these guys like Borchers and Regan and like Derek Wood, all this stuff for years. So, I mean, it's got to be where you're kind of digging some inspiration from. And
oh man, it's been so good.
Because you guys look at terrain so differently. It's kind of what I'm getting at, and like what the mindset is. And yeah, I got that.
Yeah, I've had good teachers along the way for sure, and just being able to see it all too, which is great. And making a lot of misjudgments. Like you don't just like tee this stuff up. Like
I've seen you crash. Yeah. I've seen you crash too. I've seen all of you crash.
Yeah. And you know, it's like a supportive, we're all out there to support each other. And if it looks like a bad idea, like someone's going to pipe up and, you know, like, I don't know, I kind of strive on the competitiveness of it. So I kind of had to be like pretty aggressive. Other like the boys are going to go hit it and make it look better. Cause you know, it's like, it's a little easier for them. But, so yeah, you just kind of have to trust your abilities and, you know, choose the right snowpack too. I don't really, as we age, we're just like not going to hit flat landings anymore. But man, there was a lot of flat landings.
That's a big part of like, you know, doing this and trying to make a long career of it, not a short career. Is like, you got to know when to go for it, know when to fold it. And in snow, you know, snow can be different. And I see people trying to push the limits in certain snow conditions and crashing and stuff. And I would be like, I see the conditions you're trying to jump in. I wouldn't be jumping in those. I'd wait till it changes a little bit. And, that's the part of experience of
there's
doing
a
this for so
reason
long.
there's some of you guys still doing it and some fade out. I mean, we've all seen it. We've seen some gnarly wrecks over the year, and you hate to see it, but unfortunately, a lot of it's just miscalculation, and adrenaline takes over, and all of a sudden there goes your career.
And I think it's just like honestly boils down to like your brain makeup. Like we're a little bit psycho, and that's just like what we choose to do. Cause I find myself like on my mountain bike in the summer, sometimes like going way too fast. What am I doing? But
once you've trained yourself to look at things that way, it's hard not to be that kind of person that you just want to push your body, push your, look for those challenges and try to overcome them.
Yeah.
It's fun being out there in a group and having a diverse group because everybody seems to have their own skill set in the backcountry, and everybody wants to kind of elevate their riding, but we all work together and we feed off of each other, and it's such an interesting time out there.
Yeah. It never is a dull moment when you get like a really solid crew together. It can get chaotic for sure, but 100%. At this point, everybody's so refined that as far as safety goes, like navigating the backcountry, everybody's very aware, which makes it. Usually when you get a big group, it gets kind of stressful, especially if it's kind of people you're not too sure on. Yep. But when you get like you guys together and like Borch and Riley and all that whole crew, I am so confident that we're going to get out of here and we're going to go out and have a good time, and we're going to make the right calls all day.
Yep.
Nobody's going to second guess it. Nobody's going to argue with you on something like that.
You're going to make the right calls all day.
Well,
I don't know if that
nobody's
happens,
leaving you behind.
Yeah.
No, that's right.
That's a rare, unfortunately too, a rare kind of scenario to be in all the time in the mountains.
Yeah. It is. But, when you've seen a lot of things, you work in search and rescue, you see all these other injuries that people are having, and you just do not want to be there. Those are always the worst. I want to sleep in my bed every night. Totally. I want to get home.
Totally. As much as we love the mountains, it's hard to beat your own bed.
Yeah.
With this being kickoff to winter, this is kind of the time people are pulling things out of the garage, going through things. I know, Nadine, you have a ton of avalanche experience and you do a lot of good for the community up in Revelstoke. Regan, you as well are just as equally trained or experience-wise.
I'm a little bit more of a cowboy. I don't go to as many courses, but I mean, I definitely pay attention. I've learned a lot.
Yeah.
And,
you've been in the train.
Yeah, I pay attention. I can't say I'm the guy that sits in front of every class and does the book work and everything, but experience, and I try to ride things as smart as I can, and I have a very risk versus reward kind of
You've absorbed stuff. I mean, you're around professionals. Yeah. Going into the fall here, I don't want anybody to overlook that aspect of it. We're all like, oh, cool, I need a new belt, this and that. But what else for both of you guys is kind of on the checklist come October, come first snowflakes up high and the mountaintops are getting a little frosty? Like, where is your every scenario that happens throughout the season? Do you have a checklist leading into it that you kind of want to make sure is taken care of?
Yeah, I mean, it's just part of the daily routine, like everything. And I think it's worth noting, like last year was a rough year on the motorsports industry specifically. Like we had most of the fatalities in both like Canada and the US, like all of North America, were related to sleds and or snow bikes, a lot of which were people being stuck on slope and friends going to help. So multiple casualties. So yeah, it's just like that awareness. We don't want to have these ebb and flow years where it's like some years we have a bunch of fatalities or injuries and then some years we're good. But just like tracing that snowpack, doing your refreshers, checking your gear, which is an obvious one, making sure, your transceiver is working, and not just that, your battery terminals aren't rusted out, but that how to use it.
I think that's a big one too, is you can have as much knowledge as you want, but you like really practicing it once in a while really goes a long way. So it's not like a huge panic situation when things really do go wrong. So getting there in the beginning of the season, really doing some refreshers and grabbing your gear and making sure you're using it hands on, it does really help. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. And we try to beat this in everybody's head. I've done numerous classes and refreshers, and our local avalanche center here is super awesome for being a pretty small region for riding. Really good riding, but unique terrain. We don't really have alpine, but we have gnarly tree riding with a lot of terrain traps.
Yeah.
You're not going to pop off a massive, 500 meter wide slide, but you're going to run down into a creek, this and that. And people have been taking the initiative in the last few years. The center's been getting more involved on the on the snowmobile side. They've been, historically ski, snowboard, but now this industry's taken over. But I still, and I don't know if it's just lack of awareness or care, but I still just cringe at sometimes you go up to like Boulder Cabin and you look at some of these groups that are going by and what they're wearing, and it's like, you're going out there with like kind of a death sentence setup currently. Yeah. And I don't know how we break that eventually. And I think some people you aren't, unfortunately. No. But it still is a bummer to see some of that going out to the backcountry that we're all out there trying to get home, have a good time. Yeah.
And I mean, the resources are there. You guys have ARI and AAA, and we have the Canadian Avalanche Association. Like, there's so many resources on there. Just use them. And, it just takes a close call, and then you really kind of learn your lesson quick.
The tough guy's not so tough. Yeah.
It's a crazy place out there when it does slide. Like, it's amazing how chaotic things can be and how powerful Mother Nature is. And you really don't know until you've been in that scenario, and it'll open your eyes big time. Yeah. So it's just worth being as safe as you can be. I mean, we're all out there, pushing the limits and everything, but you really do have to pay attention to what the mountain's saying.
Yeah. I can tell you at this exact moment, being that it's going to be 85 here today at like 30 degrees Celsius.
Yes. 29.9, I think, actually.
I can picture a bluebird, pow day, inversion, whatever is like on the top of my must-haves at this moment, at 100%. This point of the year.
Coming.
Yeah. For you guys then, I mean, you're two different disciplines at the end of the day, sharing the same terrain. The perfect scenario, I'm kind of curious, a perfect day, because Regan, I know I've seen you have some pow days that aren't as enjoyable for you. And then I've seen you have some crust days that you're having way more fun than us. Yeah. So Diener's like, what's that kind of perfect scenario day for you that when the stars align once or twice a season?
Just, at least 3 feet of fresh POW on a supported base, and green light, open terrain, no tracks, first in, and just, I can envision Turtle or even Boulder, like areas that just have all these natural features, and you can just post up with a group of friends.
Else out there.
Yeah. That's my perfect day. Yeah. Sun's shining, but not too bright.
Yeah. I don't want to squint all day.
I don't want to squint. Yeah. Get a sunburn, but yeah.
Yeah, I love the adventure of the bike, and I guess a perfect day for me is like checking off maybe something new, getting into a new zone, obviously some sunshine, good visibility, a couple good friends, and just I love the adventure part and getting into something new, and when it reveals to what you hope and it turns out, and there's hopefully some struggle getting there and some laughs, and when you get to a place that you've been maybe planning or trying to get for so many years or something, and it all works out, the conditions are right, and you choose the right day, and it all works out. I don't know if it gets much better than that.
And hopefully you didn't use all your gas getting there, so you can rip it up a little.
It's a problem when you're out of fuel and you're like, says 50% left, and you're like, I'm more than 50% away from the truck.
I try to plan as good as I can. You guys see me going up the trail. I got extra gas cans on my freaking chest straps, dragging them up the trail if I have to. I don't like going up with not enough. It's a full day in the mountains for me, or don't go.
There's nothing worse than 50% fuel and you're like, we're not even to the spot yet.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh no.
If we make it, we can't move once we're there.
We live here now.
Yeah. Or that's when gas gets real premium out there in the country. Oh,
$20.
Yeah, you want a liter?
$20 or dinner or whatever. Yeah. Entertain me. Yeah. Being that this is kind of, we're mashing a few quick topics together here, and this is the start of the season. I'm curious, you guys being so long time running with 509, this year, like a standout product or something you think everybody needs in their setup, whether it's a spare or a must-have every single day that you're wearing. What is that item for you guys?
You have to pick just one.
You can do a couple.
Okay. Regan?
I mean, if I got to pick one that I really enjoy out of 509, there's just so many products I do enjoy, but I'm a skinny guy. I don't really like being cold, and I like the heated, puffy jacket.
Yeah.
And those are just one of those things I just love having. It makes me happy when I'm not on my machine. Sometimes I take it on my machine too, but it's a great product by you guys.
Yeah.
But there are so many good products. It's just hard to pick one.
That was a, no pun intended, a hot topic yesterday. Everybody seemed to be
Oh yeah.
like overly stoked on that, which is interesting for me because it's more of a casual piece.
Yeah.
And it's not like people are like, I love this t-shirt, but it's like, oh, we do have a casual piece that everybody raves about.
Yeah.
Once you have one, it's like, what was I doing?
Oh, heat everything.
Yeah, because then you can run to town and not have a giant jacket on. People are like, aren't you freezing? And you get this thin jacket on. No, I'm toasty.
Yeah, you don't have to be moving. You
Yeah.
just be standing there and just hit the button.
Yeah, I use it shoveling snow all the time.
Exactly. Use it all over the place in the winter, not just out in the backcountry necessarily, but I just use it so much.
Yeah.
I know I really appreciate having it. And that's something I'm glad's in the product line. That's for sure.
That should be the campaign. We should do like Regan like shoveling his driveway in his underwear and just the heated jacket on, and like the neighbors looking over at him out the window or something. And yeah, toasty torso.
Toasty torso. Yeah. For
Like
me,
to have my battery powered socks and everything on
Yeah.
too, though.
Oh, yeah. And now the slippers. Oh, man, life is good. 509 gear. Obviously, I'm pretty excited that we've been working hard on developing our women's line. Having come from a male-dominated sport and riding male gear for so many years, but the big one for me last year was a bit of a game changer. Were the women's free ride gloves.
Yeah.
And not to say like I could choose a million things, but I really, really like having a glove that fits because I've been battling with those extra bulky material for so many years. So I really like those. It's a good glove. It held up good because that's the other thing too. We ride so much that we just blow through gloves. It doesn't matter how well they're built. But man, I didn't even blow through a pair last year.
That's awesome.
And,
yeah, it's a sweet glove. Hannah had one, and I was like, I kind of want to order a size up of this. I like the little thinner profile on it.
Yeah.
Like, this seems like a nice little setup.
Yeah, so I was pretty happy with that.
I appreciate your patience and input over the years on the women's line because, unfortunately, I mean, I know you talk about all the time. It's a product of sales at the end of the day and interest in the sport.
Yeah.
It's like we want to continue to build all this stuff, but from the business side, at the end of the day, it's business. And if we're not moving it out there and there's not more gals getting into the sport, it's hard to continue to push new gear. And I hope that we start seeing that shift. I mean, I see it like in the social front and Hannah's friends that she's made that are getting into riding and your rides that you do. And, there's definitely, it's trending in the right direction, but I just want to continue to see that and then be able to curate gear for you. And it's been fun to get to at least this point. And that was a huge stepping stone to even have like the mono and now the 2-piece and everything.
Oh, totally.
But there's more in the pipe. We just
there is more in the pipe. And like, I went through this with Motor Fist before 509 and, like I told you guys before, we kind of nailed it pretty quick. Like there was little tweaks that we need to make, but it's comfortable gear. It works well, and like colorways are good, and if we build it, they will come.
I know.
Let's keep building it.
It is pretty awesome being a part of the team and like actually seeing our feedback as athletes and partners that actually get implemented into the product line and stuff like that. It definitely makes you feel good as a partner, and it gives you more inclusion into the whole team.
Yeah, yesterday we did a little like kind of athlete summit with you guys here at HQ, and we have a guy in design, which the listeners know, Bill. He comes on occasionally, and he's done tech talks and this and that, but he was full on Bill Nye the Science Guy yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
But I really enjoyed watching all of your faces, and like either light bulbs clicking on or this and that. And I don't know, I'd love to continue to do that at that capacity, and I hope you guys took something from it. But
100%.
it was
it's
just
great being included and just absorbing all this information you wouldn't normally have. And just makes you feel more part of the company, and it helps us just moving forward, have more knowledge. So.
Yeah, it's cool to see like, hey, we're not just picking colors off a shelf and
the
and
research
stitching
and
them together.
development that goes into the products. We're not throwing shit out there.
The science behind what's available today is wild, especially when you understand exactly how it all works together kind of seamlessly. And yeah, that was fun. And I know Riley was saying, he's like, man, I got back and Ernisa, his wife, was like, Riley was like, I went to school today and had so much fun. He's like, I haven't had that much fun at school in years.
Yeah,
So
I think That's probably has to do with the 4 neocitrins.
Yeah. Everybody's battling things. Yeah, we are down on people this year at kickoff, which is a bummer, but the plague is going around. So
it seems to be that time of year again.
I know. I think everybody's thinking, all right, let's not get everybody else sick. We got riding season coming up, and that's on the brain. So, well, guys, you got any big things kind of for the upcoming season here? I know, well, you have your charity ride.
Yeah, charity ride.
We plug that for sure.
We should plug that. Tentative, like 95% sure it's going to go on December 14th again. But I'll keep everyone posted on that. But hopefully we'll have a good lineup of athletes. And
well, what's the backstory on it? I mean, it's I've done it. It's such a fun event for those who have never heard of it.
It's a blast, and it's kind of become like a fun public event, but also it's sort of become this like athlete gathering from all diverse, like not just 509 team, Ski-Doo team, like Polaris. Like there's a lot of crews that come together. But yeah, it's just an annual way to raise funds for like a local charity each year. We get lots of prizes. We get to go ride with some of the pros you look up to.
Yeah.
People donate to come on the ride, and then there's a huge raffle table and super fun day. Lots of media and.
Yeah, that's the cool part is the way you've organized it is everybody gets split up into groups and they get either a pro rider or an industry professional of some sort.
Yeah.
And that's kind of your guide for the day. And Regan, you've done it, right?
I haven't made it yet. Last year I was super sick right before it happened. So hopefully
there's
this year.
always an excuse.
Yeah, hopefully I'm making it this year.
So we're
I'm going to be there
live on this podcast.
I'm going to be there.
I had a lot of good excuses for 3 years when the border was shut. So that one, and then I made up for it.
Someone would have been dragging me around the mountain and not bringing me home last year. Yeah. I was in rough shape.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately.
And it's pretty neat because we have 2-3 snow bikers last year. Like there's a need for you. We need you, buddy.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Crew. I mean, if you can commit to it, I think you could ahead of time say, hey, snow bikers, we have a snow bike group opportunity.
Yeah.
100%.
But, I couldn't believe you had people from like a lot of people from Alberta, like people that traveled quite a way, which is great. I mean, that just is a testament to how fun the event is.
It is.
It's a great way to start out the winter too. You know, it's still kind of early season and stuff.
Yeah,
not
we were hitting shit last year.
It is what it is. It's not super high paced riding, you know, so people get together, you know, you get to meet some new friends hopefully, and even some new friends going into the season, maybe other people to ride with, and learn a few things, seem to maybe better set up and this and that, and have a great time. So,
and then you get to get your boogie woogie on in the evening.
Then we party.
Yeah, it's a well-deserved party at that point.
It is.
Everybody's there for some prizes, some cocktails, some good food, and it's just a well-oiled machine you got going there.
It's fun. Thank you.
But Regan, anything big or any goals coming up for this winter here?
Well, it's a pretty big year for mountaintop snow bikes. So we did a lot of product changes with the kit coming out this year. So pretty exciting. Things were working really good for the pre-production I was kind of running last year at the end of the season. Had a lot of fun with that. So going into this season, I'm super excited on my setups and what's coming out for mountaintop and what's going to be available in the market there. And
I'm stoked to see that evolving for you and being kind of a key player in making the calls and what's working, what's not working, and dialing these things in.
It's fun being really involved. You know, I'm back working with Alan Mangum, and that's who I originally started with Timber Sled. And it really is a fun, small team again. We all really appreciate each other. I get to do a lot of exactly what I want to do, but being connected and having the ability to feedback is really what I wanted. But there's just so much to learn from a person like Alan too. I really like being around him. He's very smart and everything's very clean and meticulous in his shops and everything. Like I literally can learn something from him every day. So it's a fun place to be.
Yeah.
So.
No, that's cool. I'm giving you a hard time because you keep ending up in the States traveling down there and then you never call.
Yeah, I know. I all of a sudden going through and like my route, if I'm going this way, I got to go right by the headquarters. And sometimes it's right on a Sunday and I'm just like, I can't even stop in.
You have stopped in before, but
it's worked
you've
out
never
once or
stopped
twice,
to go ride.
I really need to. I know sometimes you're just like, I got to get here and I got to get there when you're traveling. But sometimes it's nice to put that extra day in and be like, okay, I'm bringing my bike, doing something here for a day.
But yeah, we gotta overlap because I love going down to Wyoming, Southern Idaho, and all of that, but we're so spoiled with our elevation where we ride and where you guys ride. You get down to that 10K mark and the whole game changes.
Oh man, if you ever rode a snow bike, they're already, you don't have all this extra power. If you go down to Utah or Colorado and ride at 10,000 plus feet, it is a whole nother ball game. The power goes down even more.
Yeah.
So for me, yeah, it'd be a tougher scenario in those places, but I'm really appreciative of where we are. Bikes run really good. You know, we get that power, and like I say, even the sleds, right?
Yeah.
Everything just runs nice and crisp at our elevations.
Yeah.
And the snowpack is also, you know, kind of it's different
It's dry.
because you're in those snowpacks. It settles more instead of blowing away. Like we get lucky with that. Our snow kind of deposits and builds lots of pillows and features. And some other places that are higher, I find it's really dry snow, and it kind of blows around. It doesn't make all those features quite the same.
Diz is always telling me, he's like, yeah, come ride Colorado. And I was like, Diz, I did that for years. Well, when I filmed the Brant, I went down there. And then when I lived in Minnesota, it was kind of the closest mountain range to go to. By closest, I mean like 14 hours.
That's not
and
close.
I was like, that is the only place I can be and have a 10-foot snowpack and still hit a damn stump.
Really? It's just so blower and
it
low
gets
density.
punchy.
It's very dry, and it doesn't just bond to itself as easy, I don't think.
Yeah, ever since I quit riding down there, I respect for the area. It's beautiful. It's great terrain. But ever since I quit riding down there, I haven't really bent any A-arms or...
That's a good thing.
Yeah, there's kind of landmines sneaking around there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get pretty spoiled with how the snow sticks to the ground, and we really get to trust our snowpack. You know, partway through the year, it starts to really dense up, and you kind of know when it's go time, when everything starts to settle up the right way, and you've had a couple good, you know, melt freezes almost, and it just settles right up.
Yeah.
Some years the season turns out really good, and you get early season snows, and it melts a little bit, but then it freezes up high, and it really bonds on the rocks. So when you actually get your real couple foot snowfall over the whole mountain and you can access it, the tops can be pretty good.
Green light.
But sometimes when you don't get snow till later, and it starts snowing when it's really cold, well, then it's just dusty up there for a while, and you're punching through the rocks and everything. So this time of year is normally when I'm sitting there watching the Weather Channel and waiting for those white dustings to not happen, but not totally leave. And then you're like, oh yeah, it's kind of putting that blanket up top to start the season off right.
It's coming. Nadine, have you ridden the States at all?
No, like I've rode the Bighorns once. I need to spend more time down here because honestly, like
don't judge it off the Bighorns. Sorry for those of you who live near the Bighorns.
But also, like that's part of it is like you do this thing you love and it brings you to new places. And I thought the Bighorns was super cool. Like it was pretty out back, not out back, out west, western.
Yeah,
you know? And we were staying. It was super cool. But yeah, I need to tour around a bit.
There's a lot of diversity in our mountain ranges here.
Yeah.
Because where we ride is, I mean, as the crow flies, we're like an hour. If you're on some of the mountains we ride up north, you're an hour from the border, right?
Yeah.
And then the mountain ranges completely change there.
Yeah.
And then you bounce 4 hours over to like Sealy Lake, Montana, where Caleb rides.
Yeah.
Totally different style of terrain. Then you bomb a few hours south into like Wyoming, and it's a completely different mountain range, different landscape. And so that aspect of it's cool. Like, I know you guys have quite a bit of different terrain, but at the end of the day, it's all kind of similar. That's big alpine and old growths down low. But yeah, you can do an 8-hour circle here and ride totally different stuff.
Yeah.
It is fun to see like the rest of the world and do those adventures into different places too. And, you know, be with different people. And the whole thing is all still part of the fun. Yeah, we are a little spoiled where we are, but I mean, getting on the road with your friends and going to another location is just as fun as anything else.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, I got to get you down here. We got to get you maybe like run a sled up Jackson or something, and then hang out for a little bit afterwards. Or
I'd like to see that.
It is on my bucket list.
Yeah. Well, you got plenty of hookups there of Carl and everybody over there. Yeah.
I tried to last year, but I kind of threw my back out at late season.
Jackson's not the best for throwing out back.
No, it would have been a bad day.
Jackson, you can throw out everything.
Yeah, but I will do that before I retire for sure.
Have either of you gone to it ever to see it in person?
It's actually how I started with timber sled, was going down to Jackson Hole, because I bought my first timber sled myself and just tried it and everything, and I was like, okay, this is working. It's making me smile, and I'm like, I do a lot of things, so if it's making me smile, I want to chase this down. So I was like, how do I get my foot in the door with timber sled? It's not like I'm just going to call them up and be like, hey, you need to sponsor me. They're a growing company just starting at that time. So I was like, well, I know Alan is at Jackson Hole. So I was like, well, maybe I need to be at Jackson Hole, and I have some hookups there with the freestyle Octane Addictions and whatnot. So Tyler from Octane Addiction ended up kind of paying my way down there so I could help just judge the freestyle, because it was all sled stuff at that time, and it gave me an opportunity to get down there. So I made sure I climbed the hill when they did the snow bike thing, and it was just me and Alan, and then Derek Driggs, so his other kind of buddy that was riding snow bikes a ton, and we all climbed the hill, and we didn't do it like the sleds. We kind of had a free for all on the hill. You know, our kits weren't all, you know, like the best, like totally refined at that point, but we all went at the hill, and at the end of the day, I made it to the top, and Derek made it to the top, and Alan didn't make it to the top that year. So mentally, to me, it was just like, he's going to remember me. And I'm like, at least I got here and I did something. I got in front of him, and really went down the hill right after. We talked a little bit, and I just told him I wanted to be a part of the industry moving forward. And he offered me to kind of be a garage dealer at that point to make some money moving forward. And I just took the opportunity because I knew it wasn't crazy. He wasn't just going to be like, yeah, I have all this money to make you an athlete. I had to start somewhere. So when he offered me the opportunity to sell stuff to make some money, I'm like, well, I do have to start somewhere. So I'm not a salesman. I've never even done anything like that, but I just took it on because I kind of knew Timber Sled was building and selling out every year anyways. So I kind of just had to start with the kits, and people found me. I started with the YouTube stuff, and, you know, being out there with media, and just created sales and did the sales for 2 years until it just got overwhelming for me. And I kind of moved on to being like a sales representative instead. But that was kind of how I got my foot in the door. It wasn't just like send them a resume and try to pump myself and be like, Alan, you need me. I went there, I made it happen. And it just took the opportunities.
Jackson Hole. Who'd have thought? Huh? The Canadian in Jackson.
Yeah,
and makes his career.
New today. Fact brought to you by 509.
Yeah.
So it was really neat.
The Canadian snowbiker's career started at Jackson Hole Snowmobile Hill Climb event. Who would have thought that? That just says right place, right time, and network. Yeah.
Well, I had to think of how I was going to do it and how I was going to get in front of them and at least make some kind of memory or some kind of connection. And it's just the way it all worked out. You know,
that's
it was
awesome.
Just put myself there, and I chased it down. And then he responded with giving me the opportunity, and he realized how much I was going to push forward for him. And it really, we just built our relationship, and it really went forward. And like the next 5 years was a whirlwind on my goals of where I wanted to see stuff go. It just went better and better and better.
And that's the value of like social interactions face to face too, versus shooting someone an email or a message. And,
so you know, it's for other people trying to grow up in this industry and want to be what you call an ambassador or an athlete or something. There's not always like a real rule of how to get in there. You don't want to do exactly what someone else is doing, or else you're just copycatting. It does help to do things different. And even for me, I'm not just an athlete because I really put effort to be in the industry, but the ways I wanted to do it really included me in riding still and being, you know, an athlete, but also I wasn't scared to work for what I needed to get where I had to go.
Yeah. So. Networking's everything.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking to a kid from northern Minnesota who's been out here now, and I urge people, whoever is trying to like get involved, to just, I even pulled the move of going to these after parties for years and filling a beer can up with water for extra hours to just chit chat and like, you know,
to survive.
Kind of just meet people along the way and always kind of be there, be around. And eventually people start like, oh, hey, I saw you at this event or this place. And what are you doing? What are you interested in doing this or anything like that? And just kind of just leaving that good impression and showing what you're capable of, and following up with people and just kind of being available and spitballing ideas. Like it all eventually kind of snowballs together and turns into something if you're persistent with it. So,
and hard work.
Yeah. I mean, people need people like that.
Lack of sleep too. Sleep deprivation. Yeah, your story, I kind of have seen you grow in this whole industry too, and just take on more and get involved in more. And it's really cool to see. And like you say, it's just, you've put your dedication to be there and taking the opportunities rolling along. There's a lot of times I'm not like mentally there, but I'm physically.
You're a good baker.
But
you do good.
Well, thank you guys. I appreciate getting you on here. I'm glad we were able to. It's been a media-packed week and classwork and learning, and it's been a heck of a 24 hours. And then, we got in a few hours here the big shindig, and
we're getting tattoos.
I know,
Kick off the winter party.
Yeah, so if you guys made it and you're listening to this, I hope you had a good time at kickoff.
Yes.
If you didn't and you're thinking about coming next year, it always is like the last weekend of September, whether that falls on the 1st of October, wherever that falls. It's that final Saturday or first Saturday. And we're going to keep doing it year after year. And it's, food trucks, music, giveaways. Some of the team is here, autographs. We'll do some Q&A stuff. We got gear on sale, get kind of that last minute stuff with a discount. And it's just a fun little local event.
There's beer gardens.
There's beer garden. Oh yeah, beer garden.
And the sun always shines.
Yeah, we have the luck. knock on wood, but we have lucked out on that every year. So, but yeah, thank you guys. If people want to dive in more, where can they find you? On Instagram at
Nadine Overwater.
And Regan, you are
Sieg 317.
okay. I know you guys love interacting with people, so if you got any questions about sled setup, gear, bike setup, whatever, traveling, shoot them a message. I know you guys are always down to chat.
Yeah, I'm
We're here for ya.
always try to respond to people when they have questions. So don't feel free to ask. And
Sweet. Well, hey, this is not over yet, but there's going to be when you listen to it, it's not going to be a weird pause. But Riley, Suhan and Blaine Mathews are also here, and we're going to switch seats and have them sit down here for a few minutes. But thank you guys for taking the time.
Sick. Thanks, David.
thanks for having us.
Okay, we're back. I told everybody that you two are going to appear now.
No.
Here we are. We have a beard.
Ladies and gentlemen, Blaine Mathews and Riley Suhan.
Hello.
Hello.
Riley is fighting the plague over there.
Canadian plague hurts.
He brought it down to America,
Everybody's screwed.
which is unfortunate. Blaine, you've been on this a few times, right?
Yes. My
Right.
favorite potty.
Riley did one kind of during the chaos in Canada.
Yeah, when we were all sitting on each other's laps on the couch.
Oh, that was in Borch Daddy's apartment. That
Yeah.
was cool.
So I had a little snack break and I got some leftovers. Anyways, welcome back, guys. Kickoff to winter weekend again. You're some of the few brave souls that came down this year. We're kind of lacking some rest of the crew, which is a bummer, but everybody's sick and got stuff going on. So
Yeah, apparently the American plague hurts more than the Canadian plague.
there's plagues, abundant plagues right now.
Jay Minberry.
Yeah, Jay Menaberry. It's
Very
just
plagued.
it's just the Blaine and show.
Just the Blaine show now.
Blaine and this guy.
And Riley's show.
Blaine with the ill.
But welcome back, boys. I appreciate it as always. Riley, actually, since Blaine's been on this twice, 2 times.
Yeah, I think so.
We not that we've ever overlooked you by any means. You've been in it during one up at Borchers with like 8 people in it, which was chaos. But Riley, you are 10 years plus with 509 now.
I believe so. It's crazy how the years have gone by.
Because you were you volume 9 also?
Yeah, volume 9, the end of the season with the Russians.
Okay. So
If that
9
makes sense.
9 came out in 20, that was winter 14-15, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you were there for, no, sorry, that might have been winter 13-14. I think volume 10 came out in 2015.
Yeah. Because I was on a 15XM for
Yeah.
volume 10.
So you're a decade deep here.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your support.
Hey, it's been a pleasure. It's been like a dream come true. And it's actually insane to think that there's been 10 years of, filming with you guys, getting out in the mountains, burning fuel. And
Yeah. We're getting old.
it's amazing where we're at
I know.
today.
It happened quick.
Back pain.
Spinal.
Final.
The plague.
But no, Riley, we were just talking with Nadine and Regan about you guys are spoiled. You're in the Mecca. You're over in Golden, BC, which is only, hour and a half from Revelstoke?
Yeah, if you drive fast, it's like time travel because they have the time change.
Oh, is it right on the line there?
Yeah, so if you come from Golden to Revelstoke and you break the law and go really fast, you get there at the same time you leave home.
That's kind of cool.
That's actually pretty awesome. But yeah, you're spoiled up there. You guys got the Mecca in Blaine. You got to finally experience it last year. Granted, it was low tide, low snow for sure, but
Still epic.
we still had a blast.
Yeah, it
And,
was pretty rad.
yeah, I can't believe that was your first time riding BC.
And epic crew.
Yeah.
The crew, well, because the States had 0 snow. Canada thought they had no snow, but for us, it was actually like really good snow. But so everybody from the States, like every athlete, especially all the big names, ended up in Revy in one time.
Yeah.
And like there was the one day we all rode together, and there was like 16 of us. or
I
something.
missed that. That was the day I went home. I'm so
Yeah.
bummed.
And it was like the most controlled chaos you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like at first I was worried. I'm like, we are going to break so many things because, we all push each other and it's like, oh, he did that. Well, I'm going to try to do it better or higher or whatever. But actually, like, it was really controlled. It made it kind of nice. Like, and you felt safe too, like in a way, like everybody there. was very aware of everything, and so you weren't worried about some random person like landing on you or
They've
something.
all been in it for a long
Yeah,
time.
it was pretty cool. Really neat experience. But yeah, just exploring some of that new country was incredible.
Yeah. I think probably most of the listeners have seen a video from that because, like, Turcotte was there, Keith, Caleb, Muskoka, Sam Peterson. It was a heavy hitting crew. And then half the guys have YouTube channels. And I remember seeing just videos left and right
There was
from
like
that day.
5 YouTube channels, I think, made a episode from that day.
And it did well. It
I
was
can
just-
say I thoroughly enjoyed watching those. I
Yeah.
was a little jealous I wasn't involved.
There was a few moments in it I'm like, I'm kind of glad I'm not there.
Yeah, like Jay stuck in the willows, just like swallowed.
Like knuckles bleeding.
I'm gonna have to dig some of the GoPro clips out from that day of his GoPro. Oh man, that was
Dude, hats off to Muskoka, though. He mowed through those first.
I think first guy though. I think there's a reason he went first.
Yeah.
because Jay was towards the back. Him and Caleb.
Trench warfare.
It was trench alder warfare. Like I was in the middle and it was getting hairy, and I was like, man, I'm hot and sweaty and having to ride so hard, and it was just odd. Like you just didn't know what was gonna happen.
Yeah.
But like you just get stuck and have no idea why you're stuck. It would just stop you. And
Just
there's-
it was like getting weeds on a prop.
yeah, there's no pin and wiggle. You don't go forward. It doesn't feel like you're stuck. Like you can wiggle your sled, but then it just doesn't go nowhere.
Yeah.
You'd have one little alder
Yeah.
wrapped around your spindle or something.
Yeah.
They
Well,
rob all the horsepower.
we're all talking. We got to try to make as big of a shit show as it is that first December ride, getting everybody together. Like we were talking yesterday, that's just kind of what to expect in it. It's, hey, we're all giddy, we're all together. There's snow on the ground. The only plan is to kind of have no plan but to ride and just capture what happens. And I would love to try and make that an annual thing now that, borders back and open, everybody's able to travel, and that was so fun.
It just like the hype that happens before winter, like that just I don't know, fixes the crave in a way, but like makes you crave it more. And what's wild is everybody, like 9 out of 10 people in those groups show up with a brand new sled because no one's rode them yet.
And we just destroy
and
them,
they just get put into the fire like instantly.
like dragging it down tree branches and alders and things pinstriped by the end of the week.
Like I think that day we all
How many
went
miles
out.
are on it? 100.
Yeah, I think I had 13 when we went to Canada.
Looked like it had 1,300 at the end of the day.
Oh yeah, 100% missing the shop.
Kilometers.
Kilometers.
Yeah, beavers per maple syrup up there.
Yep. That's how we do it.
Yeah, Riley, you've been able to put together some of the sickest segments in the film days up in that area, and then webisodes too. You've done some really cool exploratory things. And what I want to bring up here is because by popular demand, I kind of go through every now and then and read through comments or whatever, but your old man, old Soupy,
Oh, that
Is-
guy.
heavily requested to make an appearance again. Have you seen the stuff with his old man in it?
Huh.
He first of all, he rips, and second of all, he's hilarious.
Well, I want to meet this guy.
Oh yeah, old man Soupy. He is a good time. That's like he's introduced me to sledding, took me to all his zones growing up, and like most of the zones around Golden, they found with logging. Like my grandpa logged, my dad logged, so they know all these drainages and accesses that they can get to, and now they're some of our main zones. And yeah, so to learn from him has been pretty
He quite
cool.
literally paved the way, like made the trail.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure he illegally pushed the trail or the parking lot in for Quartz Creek, like along the highway because they were tired of parking on the highway with the D8. And anyways, he's quite entertaining, Blaine. Like coming out, he was like seeing us do like these little like re-entries and bow ties and stuff, and he wanted to try, and he like pulled his absolute heart out and like blew right off the back of the sled
It's so funny.
and like rolled down the hill, and he's like, Mike, you can't put that in the film. That's going to make me look bad. And he's like, what? That's entertaining. Like, that was awesome.
That's so
Full commitment, but hands just instantly off the bars and just down the back of the tunnel like a bowling ball.
kind of like everybody's first re-entry attempt.
Yeah.
And then the one zone that we broke into that we had never been before, all of a sudden he's got like all these power tools and hammers in his tunnel bag. And I'm like, where's your like lunch and safety gear and stuff? He's like, nope. We're like, this is our new zone, and we are putting up he has a sign. He's all ready to like, yeah.
March his territory.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's good to have a guy like that in the group, though.
Yeah.
Has all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm so bad about it. I occasionally know who I'm riding with, like if I'm riding local, and I'm like, oh yeah, I don't have to bring my tools today.
Yes.
And I'm like, hey, buddy, you got this? And he pulls out this full like Milwaukee toolkit. And I'm like,
Yeah, we're good.
perfect.
That's
I
like
just
riding
saved
with Kyle
10 pounds on my
Pulsifer.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the type of guy that
Yeah.
has everything and spare parts with him.
And he'll fix anything.
Yeah.
However, he'll use like a weed that sticks out of the grass and fix something.
Yeah, but he like
And it
loves
works.
to.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You
He's fun
feel
to
bad
ride
for
with.
not helping, but he's like in his zone. Those are good people to have in the group.
Yeah, you got to have one of those groups. And like say it's funny because some days you're just like, hey, I'm riding with so and so.
Yeah.
I don't have to bring nothing but extra snacks.
Yeah, yeah.
So when they're fixing
I am
my
going to be a
stuff.
freeloader, and I'm okay with that.
Hey, you got a 15 millimeter?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I got 3. The big thing from last season that I want to hit on, because you two were both a part of it, was Riley coming and racing some rimshot races, running Jackson and Afton, and you guys kind of giving them the workings of it and, you know, the ins and outs and sled setup and practice and just kind of motivating them, because you've been doing that for over a decade.
Yeah, 12
And,
years.
Yeah, you and Jay, so you guys have the experience, but hats off to you, Riley, for not only doing it, but racing pro class, which is, you are a professional rider, but that's a totally different style of riding. And you were hanging it out there with the big dogs.
Well, I appreciate the kind words. It didn't feel like I was doing what I was supposed to, because like it's like riding a sled from the first time again.
Yeah.
Like it's a whole different aspect, a whole different beast. You're not riding any terrain you've ever rode before. It's ice, it's rocks, it's stumps, and it's vertical. And these head walls are like, when you walk it, you're like, we got to go up that with speed and like controlled between these gates. Yeah, it was a feat. And to learn from, you know, the best in the sport with like Jay and Blaine and everybody, just like, everybody's so nice. Like talking to Andy and Keith and everybody there was just, they gave me such good advice. And like I rode the gondola a bit with these guys. I rode the gondola with Keith at Jackson, and they just honestly were just telling me advice where they were going to try and see where they're going to go with lines, and if it was going to deteriorate to like potentially try over here and there. And everybody's helping each other, and everybody was so kind, but it was still not easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's still on the top of Jackson.
I know.
That's what's cool. Like,
I was there when he went over for the first time, and he was like running on adrenaline.
Oh, I was on top of the world, literally.
yeah. He
Like
was shaking.
you get to the top and you look down, you're thankful you're up there for sure. But it was like, yeah, something I've never done before. And yeah.
I was like, you did it,
Thankful for
dude.
it.
And he would look at me and goes, that's scary. and then he looked at me, he's like, I got to do that again?
Yeah, and the track's going to deteriorate more.
Yep. It's
Yeah.
rougher. No, it was really cool to see, you know, and we've been kind of pushing on the Canadian crew, you know, to come down and at least give a race a go. And they actually made quite a handful of them, which was really cool.
Yeah.
But, you know, like Riley was one that we thought like, man, he would do really well. Like he rides fast in the backcountry. He's aggressive. Like his style was going to fit hill climbing really well. And I remember the first run, you were so nervous.
Oh my
you were
God,
like
Afton.
panicking, you know, and of course Afton's its own animal too.
Yeah,
Like, it's
that's a gnarly hill.
And, you know, I just told you, I'm like, man, it's just go through the gates and get over the top. Like it's going to be that easy. But, you know, don't think about all these little walls and stumps and where everybody's getting stuck, because 10 guys before you can go get stuck. And it just mentally puts you in this spot where you're like, I'm going to get stuck there. Like you got to convince yourself, like there must be something so bad. And half the time you go through there and you're like, that was the spot.
Yeah.
But like it takes one little mistake and then he just shredded an Afton, and everybody there's like, who is this dude?
That was the best part.
Yeah, like this is our friend.
Yeah.
But
Hello.
It was rad.
My favorite part, I tuned in for it, and they're like, Riley Sean coming up to Canada. I'm like, who's Riley Sean? I'm like, oh, that's Suhan. There he is.
that's our guy.
yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty cool to see. And then, of course, Jackson, you know, like we were really excited to be a part of that and help you out, because, I mean, that race its own, like that's why as hill climbers we ever did race and do races, because of Jackson Hole. It's its own animal. There's no other hill like it. And we wanted you to experience that. And not only did you experience it, but you killed it up there, you know, and it's pretty cool to see. And it's what the sport needs. You know, it's cool to see outside athletes come in and do well in something like that. Because I think it motivates other individuals.
Totally.
You know, and like, because there's a lot of people that are like, oh, I'd like to try it, but there's no way I can do it. Well, you can do it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I told myself those exact words for years, and I wish I did it sooner. To be honest, I wish I did it like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we finally made it. We did some of the races. Very proud of myself for doing it and putting my all into it. I know what to expect for, this year coming. I'm going to try a couple more races and see if we can do better, gain some skills, get some more seat time on the sled. That's the biggest thing, because they're a whole different sled too. But yeah, it's attainable. I think anybody who is interested should try it, should go, take the time and cross that off your bucket list.
There's a first timers class at some of them, isn't there? So
so every race, we have an amateurs class as well.
Yeah.
So kind of entry level class. If you just want to come get your feet wet, you can come sign up for that, and you don't even have to have some crazy built sled.
Yeah.
You can literally take your everyday riding sled, find an old track, put some screws in it, and show up and race.
Yeah.
Because
they let those guys run before you guys all destroy the course.
Yep,
So it's pretty tamed.
Yeah.
It's turned down a few notches and get your feet wet and try it.
And the amateur class in the last couple of years is the biggest class.
That's awesome.
It's
That's
so
what
cool.
you'd love to hear.
Yeah. So, and then what's tough too, we've seen, is with the amateur class growing so big, it's some of the big pro classes, like the manufacturers classes, the 900 stock, the open turbo class, the open mod class, they almost shrunk a little bit, because now there's this mindset of I don't want to get in that class and race those guys. But it's hard to convince people
you need the next generation to start coming in.
You get faster by racing somebody faster. I mean, that's how
pushing
I went
yourself.
about it. Yeah. And it's tough because everyone wants to, if they're having some success, they don't want to bump up, because then it may be a struggle for a year or two, but you're going to gain that experience. You're going to gain this more skill. You're going to find ways to push yourself. And so that's something I've always pushed on, especially the last couple of years, is if you're winning, semi-pro or this and that, and you're have a little experience, bump up. Maybe you're not going to go win right away, but if you want to be the best, you got to go race the best.
Totally. No, it's cool. I'm stoked you guys did that, and you two were able to help them with it. And like you said, I think it motivated a lot of people to try something new.
Yeah.
And get out there and rally. But
Yeah.
I've been saying it for years, Riley, and I genuinely want to so bad. But I think I was sick last year or something. Your race up in Golden that you do, we all need to go.
Yes.
The Riley Suhan Invitational.
It's a blast. And I'm not just saying that because it's, my race that we've held for the last, I think we've done 4 for sure, 5 years.
I still haven't made it.
Yeah.
You did a couple of them through COVID and all that and borders crap, I think. And then, I was I can't remember what happened last year. I think I was deathly ill. And
Your schedule's pretty packed for the whole season.
Yeah.
And that's a busy time of year. It's usually the first weekend of April. So Jackson's typically
the last-ish weekend of April.
Yeah.
March. Sorry.
But I just want to come race it. That seems like my jam.
Yeah.
Because you're combining a little bit of hill climb with cross country, with back country. It's kind of all these.
Well, my opinion on it, the idea was it's what we ride to get to the, it's just what we ride on a daily occurrence of sledding.
Yeah.
You're riding the trail, you're getting into the trees, you're getting into the alpine.
Going through some whooped out, crappy.
All of a sudden you're in some technical stuff where you're maybe shouldn't have come here, but
14
you make it
trenches
through.
from other guys trying to get in there.
And then you got to come down always at the end of the day or whatever you're doing, come back to the cabin, and that's your loop. So we turned it into a little mini form from the cabin where you get it all. And we even get a groomer up there that, put some turns in, some little rollers. So you kind of get the snowcross-esque part of it. So it's kind of got all disciplines in it. And it's, a little 5-minute loop typically, sometimes 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's a more of a family, friend-based event that everybody's welcome to come and race. And it's cool.
And I think the format you do is really cool, where it's kind of a team thing, and you can't just go stack up some team, you know, either where you mix, a snow bike or a big, an intermediate to beginner level guy with, somebody. I think that's really unique too, because then even those people that are just coming to do it for fun, no expectations, they might win the thing.
Yeah.
You have a handicap and it kind of becomes golf rules.
Yeah, it does. It's
and
awesome.
Everybody has a hopefully equal chance. And that's why I love doing the random teams. You meet new people. Everybody's stoked. It's not like you say, you don't just have this stacked team come out and you're oh, these guys have $40,000 worth of sleds over here and they're going to kick our ass. You can come out with a 1999 whatever.
Just
and you
romp
have
your
a
way
chance.
around. Yeah.
So cool.
Here's from the outside looking in. Here's my one thought. If we get everybody, you and Jay and, whoever, a few other guys from the team to come up for a fun weekend up there. We should do like one pro class and like 2 laps on it. Like, hey, here's the option. You can do the whole team thing, but like, here's individuals, 2 laps, pro class. There's 15 guys, 10
Could be
guys
kind of
in
an
it.
exhibition
2
thing.
laps, buddy. Holy.
I mean, you got to make it like,
Yeah.
like, so my brain's going hard enduro. Like,
That's exactly
when we
what
race
it
Silver Mountain
become.
hard enduro, you get to a point where you're like blacked out, but you have no option but to keep going.
Yeah.
And it's like you hit that point where you find another match and you just light it and hope for the best. And I don't know. I think that could be fun. And it's maybe make it the worst it is. Do it after everybody else runs. So
and
the
we
courses-
do have, like last year was super efficient. It went really well. And we had some little bit of time to spare at the end. We'd have to figure out, I'm sure we could make it work, but it would be sweet to have potentially like the top 10 guys with their time trials go and do another lap, another 2 laps for the spectators, for the audience. Everybody go out to the gnarliest section and watch these guys kind of rally.
Yeah.
Because everybody's involved in the race. You do that, and then you have this other little show at the end. And I think that'd be pretty cool because the course gets
Rough.
Yeah.
like thoroughly, like some of the spots, it's almost like Jackson, like if not different, because there's like 4-foot wedges going downhill. Like I've never seen braking bumps form before like that.
Yeah.
Ever.
That's cool.
It was crazy.
I
Yeah.
like the idea a lot.
Yeah, I bet there's some OTBs throughout the week,
Honestly,
throughout the day.
they're definitely last year. Like I watered
Scotty
up.
Iyer had an OTB there with blew his goggles off.
Yeah, he crashed in the same spot that I did. Same with my cousin. I think multiple other people. There was just like these gnarly downhill whoops that just took everybody out. And I was on, your old race sled. I was like, yeah, let's take it up here and let's see how that thing does up there. More for the show. I did a pit stop mid-run
Yeah,
for
gas.
fuel.
Yeah.
Didn't need to. We like popped the cap and it was still like right full of fuel.
You're like, oh.
And we're like, whatever. And then I did a little hot start, like heat the pipe up
Yeah.
mid-race just for the show. And then we kept going and then got into that section. And I was like, oh yeah, just like there was these 4-foot holes. I'm like, I'm just going to double these down. And turns out that sled like is definitely dialed to go uphill, but it's like raked out and like not set up to go down. And I like doubled and like wadded into another hump and just like, it felt like it wanted to just shoot me over the bars. And we just kind of, I don't know, cartwheel rolled down the trail. I broke all the panels on the clutch side.
Oh, hell yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's unique in that aspect, the downhill portion. Everything
It's
is either
different.
racing on the ground in a circle on a snowcross track or uphill. There's never the downhill
Yeah.
portion. You don't even get that in cross country because the Midwest is so flat. You're just
You have a little hump.
you're
maybe.
running ditches and everything. But yeah, that's kind of really the only time a downhill is incorporated into a race.
Well, I'm not missing it this year, so
That's what I like to hear.
I know Jay's on board.
I'm
That
in.
too, so.
I gotta do it. I want to race that so bad.
And we'll make it work. Like I say, it's usually the first weekend of April, but if it makes sense for the whole team to come out, maybe the next weekend, we'll start advertising that weekend.
Which is great because that's right at the point of the year where I don't care about my snowmobile, and it's good and broken in, and
We're gonna hold
there's
David
zip,
to that. quote
there's
when he
zip
gets
ties
there.
on it. Yeah, it's already held together by zip ties at that
Come on,
point.
David, go faster. You said you didn't care.
I
take
care
your
about my
throttle.
body still, but I don't care about this thing getting a little hammered.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It's the same thing. Something I've always wanted to go to, and it's just with the rim shot schedule we've been at every year. It's been conflicting. So
Yeah.
but this year we're not missing it. So
And it's a long ways to travel.
yeah,
for
but it's
sure.
worth it.
But if you guys are going to come up,
Well, you got the midway stop at our house.
Yeah.
Take a pit stop even
right.
there, and then we got a nice little 6-hour cruise in the morning, and good to go.
yeah. No, I'm excited. It's good to hear you guys have a lot of interest in it and want to come check it out. So yeah, I hope you guys all listening too. If you want to come check it out, then you can come meet these guys. Right, you could be on their team. Like that's what's really exciting about it.
So it's Golden BC, like early April right now.
Yeah.
Ish. Do you have the date locked in at this point?
Not like I was saying, like usually the first weekend, but we're open. We could bump it to the next, but usually the first week of April.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if you guys are interested, keep an eye on Riley's social because I know you'll keep everybody up to speed on that.
Yeah.
And it's a good family-friendly event and hot dogs and burgers and hanging out on the mountain and high fives.
Dogs.
Yeah. Couple more things here real quick because we got a big day ahead of us here. Blaine, heading into this season, just stoked to get out in the backcountry. Any goals through the season here coming up? Or?
Yeah, this is it's going to be a really good season. There's some changes that you guys will get to kind of see as winter develops and starts snowing. But I'm going to have a lot more time this winter, so it's going to allow me to ultimately do what I love, and that's just go ride snowmobiles.
Yeah.
Expectations. I mean, obviously, it's just the adventure side. Like I love new places. It's something in the last few years I've been kind of missing out on.
And there's a lot of places on your list.
Yeah,
we got to get you to.
Missing out on, but now we're going to be able to travel a lot. And that's the thing. That's the unique thing with snowmobiling is it's with your friends. You're always making new friends and finding or meeting somebody new has something cool to say or some cool story. So super excited for that. But hopefully we get some, just an average winter would be huge compared to last year. And there's something in the air that gives me the feeling it's going to be a good winter one way or another. So I'm excited for that. But just have a good time and put as many miles on as I can.
Heck yeah. Riley, you? Any big standout moments?
Well, I am very excited because the last 2 seasons, like Blaine says, haven't been the best with snow. But very excited for this season. I have a feeling it's going to be a great one. Just getting out riding with some buddies. We got some plans to hopefully film with more of our 509 athletes that get together, like be more of a team again and just like shred, do what we do, have some more adventures, explore. Yeah. And I think it's going to be a good year. I definitely have a few ideas I'd like to film with just different unique type of stuff I'd like to just try. Yeah. As long as we have the snowpack, it'd be cool just to get a little weird out there like we always do and see if we can document it and show you guys what we do and like how we like to have fun out there, basically.
Yeah. I love to hear it. Seems like everybody has kind of a bit of a fire lit under them this season.
They
and I don't know. We have some discussion here we had yesterday of some potential big things coming up for springtime also. And I'm not going to say any more than that, but like
it's very nice.
It's kind of getting people fired up. So
yes.
Well, thank you, boys. Blaine, if people are looking for you, they can find you at Blaine Mathews 230.
Yep, Blaine Mathews 230 on Instagram.
One T.
Yeah, 1T. You'll find it. And then obviously just Blaine Mathews 230 on Facebook. And then Jay and I also have a YouTube channel. Last year it was pretty quiet, but like I say, the winter was weird. We did not fulfill our expectations and goals, but things just kind of got odd last year. So we're going to re-ramp that up pretty hard this year and try to have at least a monthly, if not a bi-weekly episodes coming out. So
and that's the Jay and Blaine Show.
That is the Jay and Blaine Show on YouTube.
Yep.
So
Sweet.
Hit subscribe.
Yes.
Like, subscribe, follow, etc.
All of the above. And Riley, you are, I can't remember your Instagram handle, Suhan?
Yep. Not Sean.
Yeah. Any of these guys, like I always say, reach out to them if you got any questions about gear, riding areas, anything in general. You guys are always down to talk to people and answer questions, and you're the professionals that you are. So I appreciate everything you do for the brand, and I'm fired up for the winter.
Well, we appreciate the opportunity to be part of such a rad company. The 509's the family here is probably one of the coolest out there, and super fun, and it's the adventure and just everything about it's an absolute blast.
Well, thank you guys for listening. If you're on Spotify, appreciate our 5-star reviews, and we're going to try to keep her moving here through the fall and winter. And now we actually have a studio that doesn't move anymore, so I can walk in here and just sit down. Before we were double duty with photo shoots and tear everything down, set it back up. So, hopefully you'll hear from us more often. And let's think snow, guys.
Yep. Do your snow dances.
Thank
See
you,
you out
boys.
there.